You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, the Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mark White, and with me today are Amy, Christos, and Kelvin. We got the team back. Hey, everybody.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hey.
Calvin, have you just been crowned?
Not personally. The country has. We officially now have a king and a queen, which is the first time in my lifetime that's certainly happened. So, yeah. It's a very strange week here in the UK because we had the coronation yesterday and we also have the Eurovision Song Contest next Saturday, but it's kind of a full week leading up to it. And it's the first time the UK has hosted the Eurovision since 1998. So it's a really, really big deal that it's here in the UK. We're hosting on behalf of Ukraine, who clearly can't afford to host given everything that's going on. So because we came second last year, we're hosting it on behalf of them. So it's a lovely celebratory event, the Eurovision, aside from all of the music.
Nice. So it's just like a big festive mood in the UK over the last 2 weeks and going forward?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I know obviously London's going to be all decked out and you have all the decorations out there. Do the larger cities do it? Oh yeah. And also as well, you get more community engagement in very small towns and villages. So I was driving through very rural, small villages, and they have all the flags out and the bunting, and it was just, there's lots of street parties, and it's just very, very community spirited. There's a lot of anti-monarchy, but, putting all of that aside, there is a lot of, it's just a period of celebration. It's lovely. It's a really nice time. Yeah, I was going to ask, how is it received in Scotland? 'Cause I know.
Well,
Joe gives me an earful.
We do know a couple of Scottish people who are not the strongest monarchists, but there is a huge aspect of the Scottish population who are very, very royal and very pro-monarchy. So it's not as anti as you might associate or think or believe from Joe.
Okay. Last week, we did a architect series and talked about Dorothy Fontana. And she was very big in the Writers Guild Association. And if you would like to support the current writer's strike, you can donate to the Entertainment Community Fund. Although this contribution does not go directly to the Guild members, it does go to supporting other behind-the-scene craftsmen like makeup artists and set designers affected by the strike. You can also tweet using the hashtags WGAStrong and WGAStrike.
That sounded very public service announcement.
Yeah, I just saw that out on the Twitters. There's a big strike going on.
Well, that happens to us a lot. I don't know how that is, but we just happen to hit topics and then it becomes relevant real fast.
Isn't it crazy?
We're a clairvoyant podcast, listeners.
Well, now it's time for All Good World. From Las Vegas to Boston, USA to Canada and South America, from the United Kingdom to South Africa, from Russia to Australia, the South Pacific and beyond. This is All Good World. Each episode, we highlight a different location around the globe where this podcast has reached. Today's episode would love to give a special shout out to Argentina. Fun fact, in English, the name Argentina comes from the Spanish language. However, the naming itself is not Spanish, but Italian. Argentina, masculine Argentino, means in Italian made of silver or silver-colored, derived from Latin argentum, for silver. Argentina was first associated with the Silver Mountains legend, widespread among the first European explorers of the La Plata Basin. So that's really interesting. I had no idea where the name came from.
I've missed all good work.
And I live in Nevada, which is the Silver State. Huh.
Well, Kelvin, what are we talking about this week?
Okay, so we're returning to our Holodeck Malfunctions series this week for part 6, can you believe? And we're going to look at Prodigy, Ghosts in the Machine. So previously, we've covered episodes in this series, The Next Generation, The Big Goodbye, Voyager's Bride of Chaotica, and The Killing Game, Lower Decks I Excretus, and recently DS9's Our Man Bashir.
We've covered a lot of ground in this series already.
I know, I can't believe we're on an episode where we've got to part 6.
I know. This is a very, very mature theme. We're far down the path here.
So this is the episode, listeners, where they're in the holodeck and they're trying to figure out how can they get to Starfleet without destroying, because they have,
the living construct.
Yes, the living construct. And so they're going over all these different strategies. How can we do? Let's try Morse code. And it just doesn't work. So then they're like, all right, let's just try it tomorrow. And they think that they're exiting the holodeck, but in reality, they are not. And they're being forced to stay in the holodeck as long as possible because Janeway, dun dun dun, somehow, surprisingly, got Dal's code and locked them in there because they decided they weren't going to go to Starfleet, and the living construct was not going to have that.
It was almost like it triggered a backdoor program once they changed their mission.
Mm-hmm. And it really highlighted a vulnerability in Hologram Janeway as well. It was the first time we'd seen Hologram Janeway as being anything but the mentor figure in Prodigy. So it was quite a big reveal that the living construct can affect her program. So it was great.
So what was the first, I guess, indication that something was up? Now, I think that was when Dal laid down in bed and he continued to hear the music. Is that correct? Yeah. Where was the music coming from? I don't think they explained that.
Just the sound system. From the PA.
Yeah, that was, and it was closely followed by them seeing Rok-Tahk's little pet in the corridor. And Gwyn didn't see the Tellarite walking behind her, did she? Because that was more the viewers, we saw that over her shoulder.
Well, but she saw something because that's what led her out into the hall.
Yeah. So I have a question overall about this. Okay, there's the signs, but I mean, this plan to keep them in the holodeck would have worked just fine had there not been... Was there a malfunction going on, or what was Janeway doing that was making it... that ended up leading to this big program? Because otherwise, if they just had basically done their get ready for bed routine and gone to bed, there would have been no... They just would have stayed on the holodeck, and that would have been the end of that. But obviously, that's not how the episode goes. There's this big twist where there's anomalies that start happening, and all their programs start merging together. So I think it was like the one part... Did I miss it, or did they really not explain that?
I don't think they explained it. They just referred to it, didn't they, as glitches. And then obviously it deepened with the crossing over of the programs and that. So yeah, you're right. It wouldn't have been much of an episode if they just went to sleep, I guess.
Well, of course, of course. I mean, the drama's got to come from somewhere.
Mild peril.
Well, remember, they were hiding in some kind of nebula, so there was like some interference. That was the first thought that they had, why it was malfunctioning.
And they were in a neutral zone.
Blame it on the nebula.
Yep.
Another Star Trek trope.
So I wanted to go through each of the little holodeck programs that they experienced that were merging together. And so at first we have Zero with the Cellar Door Society. I really enjoyed this one, and I would love to be a part of this Cellar Door Society, because it's a mystery, it's a whodunit. Oh, what did they say? Milk toast? I didn't understand what that was.
You've never had milk toast?
But it's spelled it's Q-U-E, milk toast, when I read on Memory Alpha. And I was like, that must be some kind of genre of mystery. I don't know.
I just know it as the breakfast.
And I've never heard of it. So what is it, Mark?
Toast, and then you put milk on it. And it makes it all soggy, sort of like a bread pudding.
Right,
Yeah,
okay. So it's a bit like eggy bread, but with milk instead of egg.
Yeah.
So you can put cinnamon on and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Doesn't sound very nutritious.
No. Doesn't sound very good.
I grew up with that as like a treat breakfast. But I also grew up relatively poor, so it was like.
I was about to say, we had it because we were poor.
Have you seen the price of bread these days?
So Zero goes to the holodeck to, I feel like, test their curiosity and logic, and for Zero, that's fun, right?
Yeah.
Which I find it.
Yeah, I got like Major Nancy Drew vibes and Hardy Boys and all that kind of stuff, and which I used to read those books crazy when I was a kid. So I kind of enjoyed the Zero, his holodeck fantasy, I guess.
And who doesn't love a good escape room? I mean, yeah, we have escape rooms now, and that's sort of the same thing. So then they move out to Jankum's holodeck program, which is the Street Fighting Club. And for Jankum, he, wants to let off steam by beating up those who insult him. And he called me all these names, but short.
This was probably my favourite one, and it really surprised me as well because I don't like violence at all. I'm really not. But there was something about it. I'm probably appealing more to the gays here, but the way those Tellarites were dressed in their leather harnesses, they looked like they were going to the club.
Jankum of Finland.
Yeah, it was very homoerotic for a children's cartoon.
Well, I mean, I don't know. When I grew up watching He-Man, so that was pretty homoerotic. Yeah. But I agreed. I rewatched the episode to prepare for this, and I got the same vibe. And I was wondering if I even thought that way the first time I saw it, because I don't remember thinking it that way. But upon rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, this is totally, giving me that vibe.
Yeah, and it was almost, with the violet, it was almost like BDSM aspects of Jankum being, it took me out of the episode, shall we say. But it was still my favourite.
Oh, I love podcasting with three gay guys.
We're always going to take it somewhere inappropriate, and you can count on it.
I did not even think that, but glad to know you guys did. Now I'm looking at it with a new lens.
Well, we now have a genuine reason to be able to wear our harnesses at conventions, because we said, well, it was in Lower Decks.
That's right.
Not Lower Decks, sorry, Prodigy.
Ooh. Prodigy, that's right.
Yeah. So, Kelvin, you need to get a skeleton key on your chest when you wear it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cruise 2024, deal.
So after they realize that the security protocols have been removed, they next go to the Key Club. And this was actually a little interesting because Murph, I didn't know that he used the program, but this is his program. And Murph can sing and dance. How cool was that? Oh, and I loved how it turned black and white. Mm-hmm. That 1920s noir.
Yeah. Great effect. So was the kind of the rationale for this, because obviously it was just a bit of fun to see Murph singing and dancing, but was the design of this program put there by Murph to enable him to sing and dance, because that's not how he usually communicates? I say he. Do we have a gender for Murph? Is it a they? Yeah, so I apart from just it's really funny to see Murph behave like this, I really enjoyed that aspect of almost the Barclay aspect of wanting to do something in the holodeck that you're not comfortable or able to do in the real world. So here he is with a fabulous singing voice. How lovely.
Two things I noticed with Murph, which is probably what I took away as a rewatch, was things I didn't quite understand about Murph. That's probably my biggest takeaway from this. So first off, if you jump to the pirate ship scene, he says something in Murphanese, whatever we're going to call that, and Dal completely understood him. And I was like, oh, so they universal translator or whatever, First off, why wouldn't it be translated anyway? If it did come out in a different language and Dal can understand, why don't we hear that as English or standard or whatever? But whatever it is, he is capable of being understood. So that's the point I want to make. And so then you take that back to the holodeck, and it's like, oh, is he literally singing and it's being translated, or is he just, is it lip sync? Is it, whatever? Because it's obviously not their voice. I don't know. Those are just like some observations I made, like that Murph is obviously a little bit more evolved than would appear.
Right. Now, it's not canon, but Memory Alpha put that question the same thing. It was like, well, was Murph lip syncing or actually singing? So I'm going more towards lip sync, but that's just my thoughts.
Now we're into RuPaul's Drag Race territory. That aspect, what you've just said about the translation, though, Christos, do you not think that in just a regular episode of Star Trek where they purposely speak Klingon, I often think, well, why does it come out as Klingon? Why doesn't the UT just translate it? How does the UT know when you're purposely trying to speak a foreign language without it just translating it so everyone can understand? Obviously, it's the narrative and it's what we need, but that is something that I think of a lot in Star Trek. When does the UT know when to and when not to translate things?
Well, and, obviously there's just some inconsistencies. It's not necessarily by design. It's week to week, director to director, writer to writer, choices that are made. I know, sometimes they'll, when you just have Klingons by themselves, they'll show them speaking Klingon and then translating it to English at the bottom. I actually kind of prefer that, and we saw that a little bit more, I think, in early Discovery.
Mm-hmm. Too much in Discovery, in my opinion.
No, but the concept of it was cool. I just don't get that last scene where on the pirate ship Murph says something, and Dal literally understood it. But they're all speaking different languages. We've kind of established, right? When the universal, Prodigy itself has gone into deep detail to show that how important the universal translator is, because in the beginning they couldn't understand each other. And so we've established that very intentionally about that for the sake of this show. And then, like I said, Murph's not being translated, but he's obviously understood, which means it's not some weird foreign language that he's just, that there's no recognition for.
It reminded me of a Scooby-Doo and Shaggy kind of relationship, where Shaggy can definitely understand what Scoob's saying and the other way around, but I don't think anybody else in the mystery team can in the same way, because they have that bond.
Aww.
It's a lovely way of looking
Han Solo and Chewbacca, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I think that's a little bit of I want to say it's a little bit of a faux pas in this episode, but whatever. But like I said, for me, the bigger takeaway is that Murph does understand things and can communicate, and they can obviously understand.
Yeah. So then we get to Dal's holodeck program, which is the pirate ship. It's like, what? Why are we here? And Dal's like, I want a crew that follows direction. I totally laughed at that.
I think that was, it's great. I love it, first of all, because obviously these are children, and I used to play with Lego pirates when I was a child, so it really reminded me of being a child, and I loved that this was Dal's escapism and his little fantasy. Yeah. But again, Prodigy is fantastic with character development at a really quick pace, and Dal's struggle to be seen as a leader in the lead up, and I think even at this point, he's, the crew are following him, he's giving orders, they're being followed. But the fact that he has created this holodeck program where everybody just does what he says is a great touch, and it just shows what he's feeling. I think this is the program that probably made more sense as a child's escapism to me, a lot more than the leather harness Tellarites.
All right, 2 points. First, a joke. I feel like this is the holodeck program that Donald Trump would have, because he just wants everyone to do what he says. It's very, actually, if you really think about it, it's very authoritarian.
Yes.
But secondly, obviously I know this is a children's show and whatnot, but every one of the fantasies is taken right out of a human experience. Everything is, a 1940s nightclub, a old pirate ship. I mean, granted, we have aliens on these, but otherwise they're very human fantasies. And on a ship with all aliens that did not, I know they're learning a lot about the Federation. They're learning a lot about Starfleet and Earth and whatnot. But all of their fantasies go back to Earth pretty much for the most part, except for Rock Talk, which we didn't really see hers. But it's a veterinarian program with weird aliens. But we never really get to see Rock Talk's holodeck program. We only see Spillover, right?
Yeah, it gets merged with the pirate.
Yeah, but we don't actually. Everyone else's we went into. Well, we didn't go into one either for. What's her name? Gwen. But
yeah, but I want to talk about that next. Yeah.
Okay.
In my headcanon, they were all abducted as kids. They're all really young kids. So they probably don't know a lot about their own individual cultures. They probably didn't have a lot of schooling. And so when they go to the holodeck, they probably say, hey, holodeck, give me a fun program for somebody my age that does, this, blah, blah, blah. And the computer itself probably aggregates to whatever the most popular is for that age group within Starfleet and gives them that thing. So that's how I can fix it in my head canon. It's like they don't know what to ask for. And so the computer's like, well, usually kids like this one, so it shoots them out that one.
Yeah, so talking about, Gwen didn't really have her own holodeck. Like if we were to summarize, like Dahl, he's wanting, to be the leader, and Murph is wanting to relax and do something that normally they don't do. Jenkin wants to let off steam by, fighting people and taking out his frustrations there, and Zero has that intellectual curiosity. So we don't get a program for Gwen. And what is that telling us about her? Christos?
Well, she does make a little bit of a point early on, like after spending a few moments in I think it was in the key room or the
key club,
Cellar Door Society. Oh, I see where you guys spend time in here. Like I think they established that she doesn't hang out on the holodeck. More so, right. I don't know, it's more of a feeling or looking down on it or just thinking it's a waste of time. But then a couple minutes in, before I think they really realized they were in trouble, she's like, oh, I see why you guys spend time in here. Maybe that would be something that would change for her. But it's established that she does not do recreation in the holodeck early on.
Oh, good answer. So, question to you guys. What would be your personal holodeck program, and what would be the purpose of it? Christos?
You know what?
Where
I think
are you taking us?
Oh, I think, and Amy, I think you would probably, I think everyone who really knows me would know this. I would probably go to concerts at different point in time all over the place. I'm going to go see Fleetwood Mac in 1977, and then I'm going to go see, whoever, Madonna in 1987. You know what I mean? Like, that is probably a fun way I think I would use, to enjoy the holodeck.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, I'm coming to your holodeck program too.
We're fighting over who we're going to go see tonight.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking I would be something more along the lines of Dahl, and I would be in a classroom where students are truly curious and can learn quickly, and I could teach these awesome math lessons, and the kids understand it, and life is good.
Aww.
So are you going to join mine and learn some math, guys?
We'd be too disruptive in your perfect classroom.
I loved math growing up. I was a nerd. I was in math counts. I did all that crap. So,
oh my gosh!
I'll be right there.
Oh, I used to coach for math counts.
I went to state.
Nice. Wow. Well,
in
they
Ohio,
still have it. So cool.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they still do it, but yeah. I mean, you would know. But yeah, Ohio, like 1989, 1990. I think it was in 7th or 8th grade. But our team did well enough, and I did well enough as an individual to get invited to state.
Nice.
So, anyways.
Congrats. What a fun experience. Mark, how about you?
Well, I feel like I may have mentioned this one of the other times when we did a Holodeck Malfunction series, but mine would definitely be, I'd be like in a tropical paradise. My head right now is thinking White Lotus. So if you guys watch White Lotus on HBO, that would kind of be my holodeck program of choice. That way, if you want to get involved with the murder and intrigue aspect of it, you can play that game. Or if you just want to relax in tropical paradise and go use the spa and have cocktails, you can do that as well. It's just a great spot to tell stories where it's just warm and comfortable and everybody's beautiful. That'd be my spot.
Good one.
Nice.
I'm struggling with this because the more I think of a holodeck, the more I think I don't know how much use I would have for it. I'm not a huge explorer. I'm the kind of person who goes on the same holiday every year because I know what I'm getting, I know which restaurants I'm going to eat at, and so I'm not a globetrotter. So to use the holodeck to visit all of these far-flung places doesn't really appeal to me. The whole Jankum side of, or even Worf's calisthenics program, I'm not a violent person, so I wouldn't go on the holodeck to like beat people up. What I'm not very good with is conflict. So, you know, like if you have a bit of an argument with someone, and then you just get over it, and then you carry on straight away, and you walk out the room, walk back, say, would you like a cup of tea? Yeah. I am the type of person who would replay it in my head constantly, and it just takes me a while to move on from something. So I would probably have a very almost Barclay level unhealthy relationship with a holodeck, that I might replay an earlier argument I'd had with someone and got my point across in a different way, or be quite passive aggressive. So like if you think of the Barclay scene in 10 Forward in Hollow Pursuits when you first see him and he's really confident, it would probably more towards that aspect, which is probably not very healthy for a holodeck. So I'd love to say something really wholesome like Christos just said, but no, don't ever let me near a holodeck. It'd be awful.
I mean,
well, go ahead, Christos.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I probably would have more than one type of holodeck adventure, Kelvin, just put it that way. And I think that would probably be true for all of us.
There'd be a few bookmarks saved in that browser. Vulcan Love Slave Part 3.
Spock.
Well, Kelvin, I think your example is more along the lines of what they were all doing at the beginning, of trying to figure out what is the best approach. And absolutely, I think that probably the most useful of a holodeck is to, look at different situations and scenarios and how you can react and what's going to be the best. So it's like, well, what if I would have said this? Program restart. What if I would have said this? And seeing the outcome of the different reactions that you have, that would be hugely beneficial.
Which is so interesting when you phrase it like that, because there used to be this book series that I read as a child called Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yes.
So it's almost like that one kind of narrative structure would take you down to the character dying and you'd have to start again. So it's very like reset simulation mode, isn't it? Love it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I totally remember. We had those books. You're taking me back to 4th grade in my elementary school library. And those books were always on a waiting list. And so I'd put my name down. And then you only had like 1 week. And then you had to give it back. And I'm like, no, I haven't finished all the different scenarios. And I had to turn my book back in. Oh my gosh. So fun.
Excellent.
All right, everybody. Well, now it's time for assimilations and regenerations. So if you guys remember, assimilations are things that we like and want to keep. Regenerations are things that we send back to the regeneration chamber. So first off, for me, I loved the part of the episode where they were in that black and white holodeck, and they noticed that the key of the piano was not functioning correctly. And they put 2 and 2 together, and then they opened up the lid of the piano, and the piano was literally the portal to the next adventure. And I thought that was awesome, really creative, didn't see that coming, and such a cool use of the piano. And it very much video game-like. I could see that in a video game today. That was really cool.
I have an assimilation I'd like to just add. It was at the very top of the episode, actually, when they were eating the ice cream, and they were all saying, you know, pile it on, give yourself an extra scoop when you want to talk about something very personal. And I talk about this at work a lot when I'm doing kind of team... I don't like team exercises, but the making yourself vulnerable is a fabulous way of being seen as human and building relationships in the workplace. So this vulnerability exercise of expressing something, telling your story, and then using the ice cream as a metaphor of everybody saying, we understand, that must be difficult, have some more ice cream, you'll feel better. It was just a lovely touch and very mature, again, for a children's show. It was beautiful writing, very well done, albeit, you know, with the little Golden Girls cheesy moment, oh, have your ice cream, you'll feel better.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not, I'll get a little too serious with that, but like it's not necessarily the best thing to teach people, like, oh, you know, indulge in sweets when you're not having a good moment, because that does cause people problems in life to make that a crutch. But
eat your feelings.
I actually was with a bunch... Yeah, eat your feelings, exactly. But I was with a bunch of friends last night, and it was funny, we were all sitting around, and we were having our fun, but at the same time, it got a little deep for a while there, and people were just talking, and it kind of was becoming a little pile-it-on moment, and people were just, just being honest and in a way that where you're not just... you know how people can get together and sugarcoat things. Oh, I'm great. Everything's fine. Blah, blah, blah. No, people were talking about their problems in a very healthy way. And I was like, just kind of reminded of that watching this episode. My 2 cents.
Christos, you enjoyed Pile It On with drinks instead of ice cream.
Well, pile it on with wine more specifically, but yes.
Yeah.
There's less pile it on and more down in one.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I've never been a sweets person. I will eat sweets if it's put in front of me. I never crave them, which has been helpful. But, wine, it's another good red wine. It's good.
One thing that I wanted to assimilate is all the different meanings of key that they used in this episode. Like, this is key, like this is paramount, this is the important part, or the skeleton key, a key to unlock the door, or the piano key, you know? And then they had like the case of the missing skeleton key. Oh, and even the compass on the pirate ship had a little skeleton key on it. Oh, and the tattoo of the skeleton key. Like, it was just thread throughout the whole episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was really good writing. Like that was a really strong part of the episode, was that throughput of the key.
And especially for it to actually mean nothing. That the key was the ruse. Let's put this key everywhere throughout the episode, but then they figure out there is no key.
Yeah, it means nothing. Yeah,
it's just meant to keep them on a wild goose chase. I like the part toward the beginning of the holodeck adventure where they have to work together as a team to realize putting all the messages together gives them their orders or showed them the key message. That was pretty cool, I thought. Okay, that's also teaching kids that sometimes, you do need to work together to get to your goal.
Have we got any more assimilations? I mean, there's the fact that it was all on the holodeck from the start as well. It's something that we've used in Star Trek a lot, but to be able to come straight in with the action and you don't actually know if it's real or not. Certainly as a rewatch and just going straight into this episode, it really threw me to start thinking, oh, is this where we're up to? And then it's the holodeck. So that was a cool reveal.
Well, I have a regeneration, and I think it was a missed opportunity for not using Sherlock Holmes or Dixon Hill in this episode. Instead, they used the Skeleton Key Society. So it would have been a cute nod, I think, to Trek of past. They do that a lot with Prodigy. They try to throw in a lot of Easter eggs and nods to the Trek that came before, and this would have been a good spot for that. But I'm not mad about it. It just, I think it would have been cool to see.
Well, I think it really parallels Moriarty, where he, actually got control of the ship. So I think it's a little nod there.
I understand what you're saying there, Mark. It could have been a little more fan servicey. Is that
yeah?
But that's what it would have been. It wouldn't have actually made sense, which may be why it wasn't done. Maybe it was off limits with all the stuff going on with Picard season 3, and they just didn't want to go too much into TNG stuff. I don't know, but could be a lot of reasons. But I could see that being a regeneration where it could have been a little bit more of a bone thrown to long-time Trek fans.
I can see where you're coming from with that, and I think that's just a reflection of how spoiled we've been in season 3 of Picard with these Easter eggs. That it's like, we want more. We expect it in all the shows now.
I want all the ice cream.
Pile on the Easter eggs.
Pile on the Easter eggs. I feel like this episode was not episodic enough. Well, for a kid's show, it's very serialized. And when I was a kid, there was shows that were based off from like Ghostbusters and things like that. And I don't remember there being these long arcs. I think you could pop in and out of an episode, and for the most part, they reset each week. And a lot of it does with Prodigy, but so much of it doesn't. And I don't know. You guys know, if you've listened to this podcast for a while, I like consuming my Star Trek when I want to consume it, not being told I have to watch this one beforehand or that one after. It's like, nah, I just want to pop in an episode and out of an episode. So, it just sort of ended really abruptly.
Well, it's a cliffhanger for sure. And the entire first season, all 20 episodes of Prodigy is this one big story. It does make it harder to binge watch or just to one-off watch, I guess. I don't rewatch a lot of Prodigy or Discovery for the reason that it's just hard to just watch one episode and get a complete story. But yeah, I mean, my regeneration on this was, ultimately all that was accomplished in this episode was getting them the protostar in front of the Dauntless, and we spent 23 minutes doing it. So I was actually more like, no, this episode doesn't move the story along at all, really. That's where my regeneration would have been with this episode of, hey, come on, all of that just to get to where they literally start off the episode having that holodeck simulation. We get to the real life simulation of that, except it's worse because they don't have really control of their ship now. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I understand that Prodigy itself is a, one big story that continues.
Yeah, Mark, I'm along the lines with you. And when I think about it, like if I were a kid, and I remember watching He-Man, and there was some kind of big story arc, but I never was able to get it, in part because the shows, it wasn't like, okay, this is the new episode. Like, I never knew when He-Man was coming out. I just watched it Saturday morning or after school. Like, I didn't know when it was. So I wasn't following the episodes in order. I thought I was, because I'm like, well, what's going to happen to Skeletor, or, climbing the mountain? And it really got serialized when She-Ra came in. And that's when I lost it, because I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. So I'm wondering, is that just because the episodes came out haphazardly and I didn't know when it was, or I was too young to follow a big story arc? Like, there's a couple things. And so when I'm watching Prodigy, I'm like, are kids really able to get that? Probably, because it's streaming, right? It's not being shown, all the time after school or Saturday morning. So yeah, I'm sort of with you, because I feel like I could not follow He-Man at all.
I think there's a great bit of psychology there of us as adults trying to appreciate how modern children consume TV, and is it in the same way we did 30 years ago. It's funny how we have all named our own little childhood TV show there. I was actually thinking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and their seasons almost were serialized in that, where was the Technodrome? Was it in Dimension X? Was it underground? And that was kind of the season arc. But as a child, I would just, like you say, Mark, randomly choose episodes, and that's the one I want to watch today, and thoroughly enjoyed them. It didn't matter if the Technodrome was in Dimension X or if it was underground. So I'm choosing to believe, let's give some credit to the kids, that if they are watching, they'll just really enjoy the fun aspect of it being on a pirate ship this week.
Yeah. And Kelvin, you must be like my brother's age, because he was big into the Ninja Turtles, but I was kind of already too old for that. I mean, I knew it, especially because of him, I knew what it was. I was very familiar with what it was, but that was definitely his thing.
Yeah, mine too. It was huge here in the UK in like 92, I think it was. No, actually, no, it was much earlier than that. It was in the late 80s.
Yeah. Well then, should we get into some trivia?
Yes, I was so impressed with Rock Talk's explanation of how a holodeck works. Zero's all the way over there. And Rock Talk's like, oh, well, that's because of motion floor tracking and visual horizon manipulation. All of that was taken from the TNG Technical Manual reference book.
Nice. The phrase ghost in the machine refers to the consciousness dwelling within a computer, in this case, hologram Janeway being manipulated by the living construct. I love the phrase ghost in the machine. It's actually the title of a really, really good song from Annie Lennox. So that is your homework, team. All good things. It's one of my favorite Annie Lennox songs because it's a banger. It just starts off with this awesome dance track. So it's a good one. But anyway, so that's why I've always had this little affinity for that title.
Excellent. The Mr. Murphy No Shoes song and Smile and Forget It was written by Troy Klein, jazz singer from Seattle. His name, however, did not appear in the episode credits, which I think it's a terrible shame in this time of the writer's strike and not giving credit where credit is due. I think that's a great piece of trivia, but a very unfortunate piece of trivia.
So the reason it wasn't included is the nature of which they procured the song. So it had been, I think, part of just like a song, a jazz song service, that royalty-free kind of thing, like a lot of us use for our podcast music. They just subscribed and they pulled a song out of it, and so it was sort of royalty-free, so they didn't necessarily need to credit the person. But I wanted to include that here for the trivia because I think the person deserves credit because we all enjoyed his music.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've mentioned this already, but in 2369, the crew of the USS Enterprise D experienced a very similar situation where the holographic James Moriarty, who, like hologram Janeway, was also sentient, similarly attempted to take control of the ship. Moriarty's plan also consisted of trapping the crew in an endless holodeck simulation that was intended to trick them into believing that they had left the holodeck. And that was from the TNG episode A Ship in a Bottle. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your lives? Please go and watch it. It's really good.
What are you doing with your lives?
I thought it was also very reminiscent of Voyager's worst case scenario, with kind of Seska being the sentient hologram that is trapping Tuvok and Paris in the holodeck and using the characters to torture them with the safeties off and the cat and mouse aspect. So yeah, a little bit of ship in the bottle and worst case scenario from this episode.
Oh, we need to add that to our list.
Yay!
I was just thinking that.
It's a goodie.
There will be a part 7.
Stay tuned.
I was reading this last one here. In the Key Club, Gwen orders, is it Jumja tea?
Yeah.
A drink first featured in DS9's crossover. It was a drink that the Bajorans in the Mirror universe were fond of and a favorite of Intendant Kira Nerys. And that's a deep cut. That's all I can think of. That takes a really... You got to be a strong fan.
Yeah.
Something I would expect Kelvin to know.
I can give you a deeper cut on that one. So,
okay.
Major Kira, or Kira Nerys Prime, doesn't like the Jumja sticks because she complains they're too sweet. So, for Intendant Kira to enjoy Jumja tea, which you would assume to be a very sweet tea, is a point of difference between our Kira and the Intendant. So, that's my even deeper cut on Jumja tea.
Very good.
Side note, Intendant Kira is just a joy to watch on screen. she's just so wicked, but I don't know, fun. She brings out just a whole other side of Kira that we would not normally see, and I guess that's the what happens in the mirror universe. The point.
She's a little Philippa Georgiou, isn't she? Like wickedly naughty, but we love her for it.
Or is Philippa Georgiou a little intendant Kira Nerys?
Yeah, absolutely. Give that Oscar to Nana Visitor, please. Should we move on to final thoughts, yeah?
So, overall, I like this episode. I do think it's a little filler, honestly, but it does give us some character development. So that's where I'll take the positive out of it. Like I said earlier, it's a lot to start the episode off, end the episode where they started off, but we do get a lot of character development throughout this episode. And it's almost like while this is all going on, I like some of the therapy that it's like, especially Gwen in the bar talking to the bartender that looks like her father. I feel like that's like a therapy moment. So I'll give this episode credit for the character development that we get in it.
I think this episode is a fabulous example of Prodigy doing what it does well, in that you've got the very superficial, fun, having, lots of great times on a pirate ship that the kids are going to love, but very, very complex issues of the character development that the adults will really appreciate as well, about the vulnerability and the therapy, like you've said, and even the vulnerability of Hologram Janeway and the difference and the change in that character from this moment forward is just so much beyond what you would expect from a Nickelodeon show, but balanced with the romp aspect of the episode of running around in a speakeasy bar and the escape room. So yeah, a very well balanced episode.
Yeah, I like this episode because it does merge all the programs that they're using, and then like you said, it's that character development because that program is informing us about that character and why use the holodeck. I think that's important to know. And we then get the thing with Janeway, and where she even doesn't know what she did. Again, sort of that AI, that construct there. But I just thought it was really fun. I think it is a bit episodic if you just look at the holodeck, but then the few moments at the beginning and end, then that's what carries the big story arc. So I think Prodigy did a great job, and I love getting to know the characters a little bit more.
I'd like to shout out the writers of Star Trek Prodigy. They just are fantastic at taking essentially a story that could very well be an hour-long story and condensing it into 22 minutes. And that's with the intro and outro and all this. How long was the actual episode that they filmed? It was very short, but there's a lot in there. It's very dense, but it doesn't feel rushed. The pacing's great. They got it down. They're a very, very good writing team over there at Prodigy.
Couldn't agree more.
I'd agree. So Amy, do you want to give us some homework for next week?
All right, listeners, your homework and is ours to watch Voyager's Timeless. And why are we doing this? Oh, because we're starting a new series. I know,
Shocking.
Listeners, you got to keep up with us. This is going to be an alternate reality. Voyager's Timeless.
Wow.
So watch that for next week. I have no idea what it is.
It's so good.
See, this is why I can't be doing the homework, because I can say the words, but I have no context of what Timeless is.
Well, we were discussing, I think, off mic last week that we had this little deja vu moment. It's like, hey, we talked about this recently, and we did give it a snippet. It was in the 100th episode discussion we had back around December. And that was my homework for that episode, was to present Voyager's 100th episode, which is Timeless. So we did give it maybe a 5-minute discussion a few months ago, but this will be more of a deep dive, obviously, into Timeless.
Yeah, it's one of Voyager's best episodes, Amy. And you're going to love it.
A lot of money.
You're going to love it. There's a Galaxy-class starship and Geordie LaForge, so it's right up your street.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. Yep.
And I believe if we are fortunate, Captain Jeremiah might beam in. He has said that if we discuss this episode, it's one of his favorites, he would like to participate. So fingers crossed we might be able to beam him onto All Good Things next week.
I believe Timeless is directed by LeVar Burton, and that's why he makes a cameo in it.
Yeah.
Well, we would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, to continue our discussion there. You can also tweet your thoughts at AllGoodPod. Please follow the network on Twitter and Instagram at BQN Podcasts. We've also partnered with our friends at the Fandom Podcast Network, where you can find us by searching their master feed. So, Amy, where can people find you when you are not working out your problems with a holographic bartender?
Well, when I'm not doing that, you can find me here on the network where I'm co-hosting Galaxy Class and Union Federation. I'm also on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson, but my favorite place right there in the BQN Collective, our Facebook listeners group. And Kelvin, where can people find you when you're not underground with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh, lovely. You can find me on Twitter and or Instagram at Kelvin's Timeline, or on Facebook in the BQN Collective, where I'd love to have a chat with you guys. And Christos, where can people find you when you're not hanging with leather-clad Tellarite daddies on the holodeck?
You can find me as well in the BQN Collective on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at GreekGeekSD. And Mark, where can people find you when you're not hanging out in the holodeck being Murph's version of Vic Fontaine?
I hope my voice would be better on the holodeck. We'll just say I'm lip syncing. When I'm not doing that, you can also find me on the BQN Collective Facebook page. It's a cool group. Come on over if you haven't already. Also, you can find me on Twitter at MarkWhite207. And if you become a patron of the network on Patreon, you can listen to my show, It's Green.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That will help others find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching BQN. That way you won't miss any of our fine shows like Galaxy Class, Infinite Diversity, Union Federation, History with the Szilagys, What's the T-Bev, Trexpert's Quiz, The Captain's Couch, and Bargain Bin Gamer.
At this time, we would like to thank our associate producers, Mahendran Radhakrishnan and Tim Cooper. A special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and to our very own Mark White for our artwork each and every week.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. We will add you to the Hive Mind Facebook group so you can enjoy It's Green, Amy's Math Moments, and other network perks. With a monthly subscription of $5 or more, you can join our meetings on the Hive Mind Roundtable discussion that happens the second Saturday of each month. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us
as we search out
all good things.